everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. Today we are doing our next full moon movie. And it is Trancers 3. And it was on Amazon.
Nope. It is called Trancers 3, Deth Lives.
Yeah, I forgot. It was kind of
Yeah, I picked this movie, and this was the first movie that we picked last year. I thought Trancers 2 was really good. What's going to happen in Trancers 3? Wah, wah, wah. This movie was,
It was like they were fulfilling a commitment.
Yeah, it was like, it's in the 80s they had a lot of like these sequels that like they rush out a sequel every year, like sequelitis type of thing.
Sequelitis.
That's what this movie felt like. It just felt like we got to get this movie out as quickly as possible. Who cares about the story? And yeah, it almost felt like a trailer at certain points. Like you wondered if anything was ever going to come together. And it does, I guess, at the end, but then it felt like a long TV episode, too. I did not like it.
Yeah, it was, and I read about, there's a new character that's added, but he's not really in it a lot.
No.
He's in it at the, it's a thing, but I think it's supposed to be kind of like a, what do they call it? It's not a robot. What's the term that they use in these?
Cyborg?
Yeah, like a cyborg or something like that.
Humanoid?
No, he wasn't humanoid at all. He's kind of like a big robot, and he looked like, I don't know, he looked like somebody from Power Rangers. One of their
to me,
people they fought against, kind of a cross between that and...
To me, he looked like kind of like a demon from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, he kind of looked partly like that, too.
That's what it reminded me of, like, how Buffy or Angel would have, like, a supernatural companion to help them in one episode. And Safi read that they added him so that the main actor wouldn't have to do so many stunts and take so many...
hits.
Take so much punishment.
And he did, like in this movie, like I said, he showed up, the guy was introduced or the cyborg or whatever you want to call him, he was introduced in the beginning, and then he came in at the end. Mm-hmm. And so between those two times, this main character, what's his name? Jack the detective, he wears the typical trench coat like Columbo and a suit, and he smokes a cigarette. But anyway, what was I going to say? That he endured a lot of shots during the part where the guy wasn't in there. So it'll be interesting to see the next one, actually, to see how much this cyborg being deflects off of him, because
there's three more.
Oh, okay.
The sixth one is about a woman. I don't know it might be like a new character, but there are 6 movies in the series, and then there's some kind of a short that takes place in between the first and the second. And speaking of rushing out sequels, the 4th and the 5th one came out the next year after this. Both of them. So that really shows it's like a TV show, because the movies aren't very long. It's like an hour and 20.
Yeah.
And I feel like this movie in particular was bad. I think this is the worst one of the Trancers series so far. It basically had no story. It just had all the elements of a Trancers movie. It had almost all the elements. I mean, it hardly had any good, like, sequences or anything, but it had a love interest kind of, or did it really? Like, not really. She was kind of like, because remember...
She was just a friend.
Well, remember in the second one, he had the dual love interests. He had Helen Hunt, and he had the young girl.
And they were both in this one.
And in this one, all of a sudden, Helen Hunt has divorced him, and the young girl, I don't know what happened with her. So it's like, after that whole plot in the second one, that's what they spent the whole movie dealing with. They're like, let's drop that and do this.
You had to really pay attention, even though it was very short and, quote, sweet.
No,
you
it
had
wasn't.
to pay attention about the time jumps, because I got confused there. Because what happened is he was kidnapped, the detective guy, by this being, this robot thing, and he was scheduled to meet with her, but they were on the outs, and she did want to get it. She did talk about it already. They showed it getting a divorce, and
Not in the second one.
no, in this one she did at the beginning, and they were supposed to meet and talk about it. And what happened was, he was taken to the future, a long way away, and then from the time where they presently were, and so it ended up that after what happened was, I guess the Trancers had taken over, and what he would have to do is he would have to go back to a certain time and nip it in the bud before it could get blown up like it was then in the time that he...
I gotta be honest, I don't understand a single thing that happened in this movie.
Well, it was...
I literally don't. Like,
it's just the times you had to pay attention.
It was a confusing movie, and the movie took no responsibility in making this movie stand on its own. It felt like you had to just have watched the second one minutes before this one. And they took away some human characters. There were those comedic relief characters from the last one. I don't know why they got rid of them. They were nice characters, like, I just hate this movie. I did not like it at all. There's, like, practically nothing that I like about it. Like, there's good music, just like the first and second one. It has a really nice 80s vibe, even though, isn't this in the 90s?
I thought it was 2000s. No, wait a minute.
Uh-oh, Safi.
I have it. I just...
Uh-oh. Well, regardless, it had a really nice 80s vibe, but other than that...
Oh, it was 1992.
Other than that, I did not like this movie. It meandered. I didn't know what the hell was going on. Safi didn't either.
No, I didn't. That's why it was really time to end the time jumps. You had to know, because what happened was, when they tell him that he needs to go back into time and nip this in the bud, he's not going to the back to the time where he started from, where he was kidnapped. He was going to go somewhere in between, but you don't know what time they're talking about. And what happens is, it's 10 years later than from where he started from. So Helen, I'm talking about Helen Hunt.
And her character's hardly in the movie.
No, and because she's doing that show, that TV show that was really popular. I don't know. I didn't really watch it.
Well, regardless,
it was very popular, and they talked about this too in the trivia.
They
didn't know how long that they could have her
for
the show.
Still, they didn't have to have her divorce him.
Well, that's what they did, and they had been divorced. What happened was, she'd waited for him, because I told you they were supposed to meet, but he never showed up, and
stupid and dumb.
She didn't know where he was, so she ended up divorcing him, getting remarried, and she had a child, like right off the bat, because the child was like, I don't know, 10 to 12 years old. It was a daughter, and she was really nice. And
I also felt like Jack Deth in this movie, he was the least threatening out of all three movies. He felt like just some guy.
Well, I thought he might be sick or something.
Yeah, there were so many times where, a bad guy would get on top of him, and then he'd be like, "Help me! Help me! I can't do anything!"
Well,
and then that shark guy would come over and go, Psh.
But that was in the beginning, and in the
end.
And the end.
Yeah, but
not in between, and he was pushed around and slapped around, and
he could hardly do anything.
And he and I thought, because I read that they had gotten this character, because it sounds like the way they talk, he's going to be in the next one.
Yeah, he is. He's in the next one and the fifth one.
Yeah, so it's to like I said, to deflect all the punishing blows and stunts he has to do. And I thought, well, maybe he died or something, because maybe he's sick. And I looked him up. He's not dead. There's nothing about being sick. So I was like,
I think the people who made the movie were sick because they couldn't make a they couldn't write a movie like this was.
I was thinking that because like with Twin Peaks and with some of these other movies, these people, actors, they're not superhuman. They don't live forever. So.
And the script writers, they got a problem because I don't understand. The last movie was good, and then this movie's bad. Like, there's literally nothing else that's good to say about this movie. Like,
maybe they just made it too quickly. They said, we have to they want you to churn this out.
The story wasn't really worth it anyway. Like, what was it? Like, there's some
he just has
Captain America program that's going on in the military or something stupid like that, and they basically used the same formula for the last movie of where we're gonna introduce this all-powerful guy, and he has an army of bad guys, and they all get taken out at the end, conveniently. And the funniest part, I know that Safi loved this part, the funniest part is when the main bad guy, who is Scorpio from Dirty Harry, which is cool.
He's been in a lot of things.
It was nice to see him.
Yeah. And he knows what he's doing. He has a lot of experience.
He had a really cringeworthy, like, I don't know, was it like a sex scene or something? Like,
yeah.
What was that? Like, that was so weird. Like,
I think he was mixing sex with. What happened was these Trancers, they're not born a Trancer.
You are. You were.
The way they. Marco, be quiet.
Is that what they called you in high school,
Marco!
a Trancer?
Wasn't in high school during this movie series.
Trancer Safi?
Anyway,
Trancer Trees?
I can't even think about what I was going to say.
Really?
They drug them. So they give them all these, like, series of injections that last for months. And I don't know, it reminds me of something, I can't think of it, but the whole thing about going back in time and changing something so it doesn't happen in the future, that reminds me of Terminator.
Yeah.
That's what that reminded me a lot of. And the thing about, well, I know, it reminded me of Buffy. Remember?
Yeah.
Because they had the program.
The season 4.
Yeah.
The military thing.
With Adam.
And, well, not just Adam, but
and the other ones, too, I guess, the soldiers.
What was that guy that was terrible? Riley? Ugh.
Oh, yeah, Riley.
He was the worst.
That was another thing.
He was the worst. I hated Riley, and we should do Buffy the fucking Vampire Slayer. Maybe, I don't know, but I wanted to say the funniest scene was when the ultimate bad guy is finally facing off against Jack Deth. He's like, "You're not gonna be able to get me," and then he shoots him about 10 times, and he's like, and he just, it's like this really weird thing of like, oh, I thought he was invincible or something, or he could handle bullets, but then he just collapses to the ground like in the slow motion way. It was really weird. It was like typical like good bad movie crap, right, Safi? Like what happened there?
I don't know, and he acted like he knew all about him.
Yeah.
Jack, this bad guy knew all about Jack, and that he could overcome him so easily because he knew everything about him, and it was just like the opposite. Jack just destroyed him in 2 seconds. And I think another thing that was weird is he called himself Mother Father or something. I thought that was very odd.
Colonel Mother.
They could have come up with something better.
Mommy, Daddy. Daddy, Mama.
I didn't like that.
Or something. That was weird. There were so many weird things in this movie. There was another random part where he's talking with Deth is talking with the young girl out in the middle of nowhere, and then there's this cop, and she's like, "You're in a restricted area, and this is totally not a porno," because she looked like she was in a porno, and then all of a sudden, the young girl,
like a model.
That's what I'm saying. Like, like not really like an actress type thing. Because remember, in that one porno that you forced me to watch, like, they had that cop character or whatever.
No,
so
she was not like that.
It reminded me of that type of thing.
Like a model.
Then
she looked perfect and she was tall.
Then the young girl just shoots her randomly for no reason, and it's like, oh,
she knew that she was.
I knew she was a trancer, and it's like there was no suspense there or anything at all. It was just like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this movie was lazy and dumb. It was just so paint by numbers. It was not unique and special like the second one, or even the first one.
And like I said, I think this is another example of churning out. They had to get something. They wanted it done as ASAP, and they have the basic framework. Jack, and then they have some characters who he's with, like his wife or ex-wife, and then the younger one was there too. So his, whatever she was she wife too, and so you have these basic. They're still there. You introduce a new one, and then they have to churn something out. So they have the basic characters, and they think of this little story, which isn't much of a story. And I think they borrowed, like I said, from different places, the ideas that I talked about.
God, the fourth one looks really bad.
And then
God,
it's like quantity over quality. And really, I mean, Hallmark does a similar thing, although they have a lot more resources, but it's the same kind of thing. You turn out a bunch of Christmas movies, dozens and dozens, but the quality isn't there. In other words, the ones I try to find have some kind of unique quality about them. The storyline is different, and there might be a little bit formula in there because they want that. They want the romance. It's kind of like part of the deal. The holiday romance, and but still, it's another story of quantity over quality, and that's what I think they did with this.
And I just looked at the fourth one and the fifth one. Apparently, they take some kind of fantasy direction where there's horses and they're in the medieval times or something, and they're sword fighting, and they get rid of the Godzilla guy, and it looks really bad. So, and a lot of people, they said, the third one was the last good one, and then the series took a weird turn, and it's like, yeah, I can tell. Like, they really, really took a wrong turn with this series. Like, just because that guy was getting older, that doesn't mean that they had to
treat him like a ninny. I don't know.
Yeah, and like, how hard would it have been? Like, I bet I could, and I'm not trying to be mean or something, but I bet I could just write a Trancer script like in a weekend, and it would be better than what we got in this movie, because like, it feels like there is a formula, but there also has to be like substance to what's going on.
Well,
and it seems
you have the basic characters.
Yeah, and it just seems like Full Moon is allergic to substance and story. Like, they're just like, we gave you a movie. What else do you want? What more do you want? We gave you a movie. It's like, we want a good movie.
That's inexcusable, and that's lazy, and it's disgusting.
I don't like this movie.
Okay, well,
I'll say it a million times because I don't.
I didn't care for it either.
It was a big disappointment.
But what I gave it for the food review, I don't know. It's not the worst thing it could get. I don't know what the worst thing is. So, Anyway, I don't know if we're doing that now because there's just
Well, what else is there to say?
I was going to say there's nothing really.
Well, at the very end of the movie, they basically force Jack Deth to take on another mission.
Yeah.
And it sort of reminded me of Mission Impossible, where it's like, do you accept this mission? And then they're like, and then he's like, no. and then they're like, oh, well, fuck you. You have to do it anyway. And it's like, that
It
just
wasn't like
sucks.
that. They were smiling and laughing but saying, yes, you have to do it. So they weren't saying it like they were being mean, doing it in a mean way. They were doing it in a forceful, friendly way.
And I feel like, this series, like, if they didn't want to make good movies, they should have just ended it. Because, what's even the point anymore? It's just like with all these other movie series is nowadays, like, if they're not going to put any effort, then why not just stop? Like, that guy quit the Exorcist trilogy after he made that new one. Remember that? How bad that was? The Exorcist Believer.
Robert Patrick?
What?
Who?
Robert Patrick? The Exorcist?
Oh, The Exorcist.
Oh my God!
I was thinking. I'm thinking about Terminator. I'm going back in time. I'm thinking back.
What the fuck?
Back to that. No, the Exorcist.
Yeah, remember
that movie was horrible.
Well, after that, that guy was supposed to make 2 more movies.
Oh my God!
And then he just quit. And
well, I guess at least he got the message.
But still, it's like, might as well just quit. Like, Trancers 4 or 5, like, who cares? Like, Trancers 6, where there's some random woman as the main character, like, who fucking cares about that? But what would you give this movie in terms of food? Safi?
Well, I already told Marco what I was gonna, because I don't know what else to give it right now that would be characterize it maybe better. But I would just give it plain Nilla cookies, which are the vanilla wafers, but they call them Nilla, Nilla, like for short. And they're very plain and they're very thin. There's nothing to them. I use them. I was reminded of them because I made over what would it have been? I think it was 4th of July. I made that banana pudding with vanilla.
No, actually,
wafers.
I made it.
That's right. Mark.
Safi got too tired, so I had to make it for her.
Yeah, that's right. He did. I forgot.
Even though I wasn't going to eat it.
No, nobody ate it with me, which was hilarious. I was told to make it, and then it ended up nobody ate it with me. But Marco had already told me he wasn't going to eat it. But it was perfect. It just needed the whipped cream on top, but I thought it was good he left it off because you just get your serving and then you put whipped cream on top of the individual serving. Because if you just put it on top and it sits in the refrigerator for a week, it would just fall and be messy and gross. So. But anyway, I didn't say that. I didn't say my review would be vanilla pudding because that would be a good thing because it was good. Just the wafer, nothing else, because there's nothing really special about this movie. And it's very plain and there's just not much to it. There's no filling. It's just like a very sketchy story. And they managed to get a few good actors, like Helen Hunt, even though she played a very, very, very small part.
And this is her last movie because
she got real popular in that.
She got too popular.
And she was in that movie
for her own good.
She got an Academy Award.
Nobody cares about her anymore.
Oh, I know. I don't remember any.
She might as well do Trancers 7.
I don't even know the name of the movie she was in that she got the Academy Award.
They could do a really good Trancers 7 where the main guy's in like a nursing home and the nursing home gets taken over by Trancers.
Well, that's just really weird because I talked about this yesterday. I've been listening to this group of musicians called the Hollies, and they were at the same recording studio where the Beatles were. They were all in the same, they were young bands and they grew up, and they had been around since the 60s, like when I was in 3rd grade or something. I mean, they have been around when they were real young. I mean, like out of high school or something, and they're still around making music, and they're in the 70s, and they're not. You know, it's not easy. They went to the London Palladium. The core part, some of the core part of the group.
Safi, what the hell are you talking about?
My point is that just because that guy's older doesn't mean that he can't, unless he says he can't, he can't do it anymore.
I'm saying in this situation, you could have a really creepy psychological thriller type of movie where, you know, he'd be confined to this nursing home and Trancers take over it. Like, that could be like a really creepy movie. And you could bring Helen Hunt back. Like, I'm not thinking just because he's old. Like, I'm thinking logically, like, it could be a pretty creepy story.
I don't know. Somebody like, I don't know if he would agree to do that. Because, you know, that would be, maybe for him, you know, for his ego, it might be, you know, something. But who knows? At least he'd be working.
It could be
would
cool.
Be a better movie.
It could be cool, and you could also have like flashbacks to himself,
right?
As a younger person, played by another actor, like, you know, they do on The Old Man.
These people can't pretend like they're not what they are and who they are in reality. It's there. They can't hide from it. And if you could incorporate that, it would still be working, and it would be a better quality movie.
Am I allowed to give my review next?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I just was, when you said the thing about being in a nursing home, I'm like, oh, God.
What?
Well, I'm thinking about him. I don't know how he would.
Well, Safi, I've seen so many of these old people movies where, you know, like On a Golden Pond, and then that one with Betty Davis and that other woman, and it's like, all these fucking old people movies are just all about old people dying. Like, that's what the whole movie is about, is like, we're gonna die pretty soon, you know.
What about the old man? Nobody's dying there.
That's not true.
Of the two main characters?
They might be. I think the third main character, which they had this stupid twist where he is the old man. Like, he was always the real old man or some stupid shit.
I vaguely remember that.
And he is dying of something, or he was, or I can't remember, but I don't know. But like, I just see so many of these old people movies, and that's what it's all about. And it's like, it's kind of irritating because it's like, that's not really a good story. I would give this movie. This movie's kind of like a prank. It's kind of. I mean, I'm almost considering putting it near the bottom of the list because it was just so bad, and things are looking pretty grim now.
Where would you put it in terms of the Moonbeam movie?
I put it above that.
Okay, well, I feel bad. The Moonbeam movie shouldn't even be ranked with them.
Well, you picked it last year, and you didn't pay any attention. And
that was a mistake.
You're like, because, you know, I'm not going to look too much into the movie.
If it was an adult movie, it's not really fair.
Oh.
Well, I mean, just leave it the way it is. But I mean, I feel that we're being unfair.
I disagree because
they're adult movies.
There's two Moonbeam movies that I think are as good or better than most of the Full Moon movies. So I just disagree with that entirely. But as I was saying, things are looking pretty grim now because we only have 4 movies left. These Full Moon movies have been bad. And so far, Beyond the Seventh Door is the best one, which is hilarious because
that was the first one we watched.
We made fun of that, and we thought, like, no way is that going to be the best one. So, but my review, this movie's like a prank. And it's like, you know, there was this one time where Safi went to McDonald's yesterday before an appointment that I had. And to me, this movie is like, okay, let's say that I asked for a cheeseburger, fries, and a McFlurry. And let's say that Safi brought home a burger bun with nothing in the middle and a fries container with 3 fries and a small soda. That's what this movie's like. It's like I expected to get a full meal, or at least a full meal of what I would want, which I mean my order is changes sometimes, but like that's what this movie's like. It's like a prank, and it's like you expected a great sequel, and instead you get trash. And the fact this movie is below Casino of the Damned or Haunted Casino is really, really bad. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, would you agree with that so far? Like,
I think so.
because at least that movie had an actual, like, bear story going on, so.
But really, basically,
Both are bad.
the quality of the storytelling was been poor.
Yeah.
For all of them.
Yeah. Well, now we gotta... What?
And that's it. So
Now we gotta pick the next movie.
Okay, what is the next movie?
Well, you gotta watch the movie with Creepy Amelia.
That's not a full moon movie.
That's a
just
priority.
A new one, and I'm not reviewing that. It's
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
You have to have some kind of incentive because you don't do anything. So pick it up 4. Okay, so the next movie we will watch is Creepazoids. This is another one Safi picked out. You know, another one that, you know, she's like, I'm not gonna pay too much attention. I'm just gonna pick random shit.
Well, you
and
then you text me the name in case I forget.
Creepazoids.
Legal filing came out today, and they're going to be talking about it. I want to hear it.
Okay, nobody cares about that.
A lot more people care.
Anyways, this is.
Oh my, what's all that?
Yeah, this sounds dumb, but we'll see. Safi picked it out, and Safi.
You say that about me, but you picked out some ones that you thought would be better than they are, and they're not.
Oh, we both would have picked Trancers 3 out, though.
Well, probably, because
Because why wouldn't you? No, because we liked the second one. The second one was really good. It was, like, really, really good. And, like, it felt like a step in the right direction. And then you have this, and it's like, ew. Like, what were they thinking?
I don't know. So, anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And
tell Safi she's got to watch Creepy Amelia.
Marco has 3 things to watch tonight.
Basically, we have 4 because there's that one news show, Grotesquerie, that just aired 2 episodes.
Oh, with Travis Kelce.
And I don't know if I should review that or not. I don't really want to review it, but
oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's okay? I'll find it. So anyway, and that has Travis Kelce in it, so that would be like his acting debut. Although he did several SNL skits, but that's not the same. Anyway, so that's it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers. We welcome you with open arms. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.